Hello and welcome to the Wendy Williams Show. Hello. Hello to all of our guests and our viewers. I mean, the Sippy Cake King Show. Hello there. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, friends. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome, everyone, to the Wendy Williams Show. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello. We're no strangers here. I think everybody here is already a cake cousin that's taking the class. So we're no strangers to these classes. Yes, I was ready for this class too. I was glad when they said, let us go. Good evening. Good evening. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to come on into church. Hey, Miss Lydia. Hey. Hey, everybody. Give everybody a minute to come on into the church house, to the fellowship home. Hello, hello, hello. Let us go into the house of the Lord. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. We are going to give them a few minutes to get in. We are not going to take up too much of your time because this class actually fell on a good week because I actually have to do a pretty large cake this weekend that's about 6 or 7 tiers. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to add my wedding cake for this weekend as a part of this class as well. So you guys will get to actually take it 2 parts with 2 different designs. So what I'm going to do each day that I do something, a different element on this cake, I'm going to go live so you guys can see it, see the design and how I actually structure the wedding cake for this weekend. Well, it's a vow renewal cake. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through tonight's cake and food. We're going to do a buttercream and fondant cake on styrofoam. I'm going to also show you guys how to, if you're having problems with catching those edges, I'm going to go through that now and show you that we're going to start off with icing our cake. And I'm going to show you something that I have started doing that has really made my life a little bit easier and really just makes the cakes pop, okay? So, if everybody is ready, we're going to go ahead and get started. Is everybody ready? Is everybody ready? Everybody ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? All right. Nicole says she is ready. All right. All right, so the first thing we are going to do is we're going to go over our icing method for our cake, okay? That will be the first thing that we do. So, I want to show you guys something that I have started doing that has really made a huge impact on not only the way my cakes look, but I think it impacts the flavor of the cake. So, in our Cake Cousins group, a lot of people have been asking about the recipe that I use already. They've been asking, everybody have different results with it, and it really does work. It does work. There's no getting around it. It works. But one thing I have started doing is I seen one of the girls who I follow. She does an awesome job. She does awesome work. And I like to follow good people who do, really good quality work. So I noticed that she had been posting these little snippets or what have you of how she trims her cakes down and stuff like that. And I said, that's not a bad idea. I know it takes a little bit more time, but it's not a bad idea at all. So what I noticed is that she takes her cakes and she cuts them down on the sides. If y'all can see it, can y'all see that? Just let me know how we are on the quality of video, sound, and all of that. Okay. Sound. All right. So people who are saying they have a delayed connection, you may want to go out and come back in. Sometimes Facebook does crazy things like that. So until I get my own TV show, we just gonna have to work with it, okay? We just gonna work with it. But what I seen was, because you guys know I use a simple syrup mixture. She actually just goes down and she trims down all of the excess cake off the sides. Like, the part that people love, because I know some people love this. The brown butter side, that, all that little extraness right there. So when you cut into the cake, all you see is just this beautiful layers of cake. And I thought it was such a good idea. And some people may already do that, but I wasn't doing it. So to me, it was new. I've seen it done before, but I wasn't doing it because, of course, when you got a whole lot of orders in the past, you just wasn't really trying to do all that extra work. You just wanted to get finished with your cakes. But now that I have taken a little bit more time and, I put more care into the cakes that I do, I care about what they look like on the inside and the outside. So I've started doing this. I've mimicked it from her as well. So you can never, never, ever stop learning. So what I also did is, of course, you guys know I use a simple syrup mixture. And if you don't know what simple syrup is just basically water, sugar, and flavoring. And you bring it to a boil, cool it off, and you can put it in one of your squirt bottles. And it's equal parts water, equal parts sugar. So it's not a hard mixture. And I just keep me some in a little squirt bottle, and I squirt my layers. It makes your cake so moist. And I say this all the time jokingly, I love wet cake, and I do. I love moist cake. I don't care what kind of cake, if it's a box cake or whatever it may be. I just want it to be moist. And that simple syrup really helps preserve the cake. Really, when you've been in the freezer, anything like that, it just does. It just tastes so much better to me. And I like that. When I like putting my freezer in my cakes because it gives it just it helps firm your cake up and everything, and it just makes it easier to handle. I handle all my cakes frozen. So what I'm doing right now is I just added some icing to the top of my cake, and I'm just evening this icing out on the top of the cake. And if you've never seen this method before, if you've never taken a buttercream class, this is called the upside down method. And all I did was smooth my icing across the top. All right. All right. So I'm going to take a sheet of parchment paper. Now this is parchment paper. You can get this from anywhere. I buy mine from Sam's Club. It's just called parchment paper. And it's not like wax paper. It's a little bit thicker than wax paper. So lay that sheet on top of there and smooth it out. And you're completely done with the top once you do that. Now what I do is I take a board that's a little bit larger than the size of the cake that I'm using. Take this and flip the cake completely over. Okay? So now I'm working upside down. Hence the name upside down method. Okay? So now I go about my normal routine of icing, and I ice overhead. So I'm just icing my cake like you would normally do. Y'all with me so far? You probably have seen people say this. This method is life-saving. It saves so much time, and it does. It creates a beautiful, beautiful finish. I live by this method. This is the only way I ice my cakes, no matter what I'm doing. This is the only way that I will ice my cakes. Okay? I even use this when I'm doing stenciling. I still use this. Or when I'm doing my cones, I'm sorry. When I use the cake cones by Esther Cakes, I use the same method because it still gives me a very nice, clean, even coat, even finish. Okay. Okay. So once I've gotten my cake completely covered, meaning I've gotten everything iced all the way around. All right. I always go back and do this at the bottom because I want to get all of that excess off of there for when I get ready to scrape it. All right. So now I take my bench scraper, and this is your bench scraper. You know, we already know you can get those at any cake store, any kitchen store. Walmart sells them. But I take my bench scraper and I go around my cake, just scrape the sides of my cake. And what I'm doing now is just getting off this excess icing. Smoothing everything out. And this is, if you haven't seen this, this is a refresher course. My buttercream is white because I use Sam's buttercream. I use Sam's buttercream. I mix my flavor in it. My flavor, which I make my own signature flavors. I mix that flavoring into the Sam's icing, and I only use clear liquids. That's why my icing stays white and so creamy looking. I'll mix it up in my mixer, my stand mixer, with my paddle attachment, and it gives it a very, very creamy look, a very, very nice, even finish, okay? So that is the secret to my buttercream. I buy my buttercream from Sam's. I don't put it in the refrigerator. All you have to do is just leave it in the container, leave it sitting at room temperature. All right. I live by it. I love Sam's buttercream. I love the way it tastes. I love the texture of it. Now you're gonna put this back in the freezer or your refrigerator, wherever you have room at. You're gonna put it back there, okay? Looks like I ain't got room nowhere. And this is also a busy week for me with cakes too. I whip mine maybe 2 minutes at the most. I don't whip it that long. You probably need to use a larger board, or you pressing too hard or something. I've never had the board lift off of me. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into our actual tonight's lesson, which is about styrofoam cakes. Okay, so styrofoam cakes have become increasingly popular in the cake community, in the wedding industry, because they allow customers to be able to get these larger cakes and these larger cake designs without having to actually buy real cake. So the good way to sell these cakes, these styrofoam cakes, is to create designs on the styrofoam that you typically would not do had somebody ordered it from you. So this is styrofoam is a good way for you to practice on your designs, your practice on different work that you haven't done or things that you've wanted to try. It gives you that extra option to practice on things beforehand. But it also gives you time to display the things that you've always wanted to do. If you're in the wedding industry and you want to get in, tap into, different styles of cakes, you can do that by purchasing this styrofoam and do these different wedding cakes or different extravagant cakes that you can potentially sell to your clients and your brides. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a cake today, and I'm going to go back. I'm always taking things back to the basic with the designs of things that we do and the techniques that we show. I am an advocate for the 1mm tip. I love 1mm tips. I think it's just a tip that everybody should have in their kit. If you don't have one, shame on you, because that is your cupcake tip. That is your rosette tip. That's your everything tip. It's like, it's like not having Psalms in the Bible. You can't have it. Not having Proverbs. You got to have a 1mm tip if you do cakes. Okay? So with that tip tonight, we are going to create what I call the bell effect. The bell effect is a technique that I came up with some years ago. It's a rosette technique that creates an overlapping finish of rosettes. Going up this way. I don't know if it's called vertical horizontal. I never did know that. But the lines that go this way, up and down, they create a beautiful effect that really, really looks similar to the dress that Belle had on Beauty and the Beast, which was one of my favorite Disney movies as a kid and as an adult. So I started calling it the Belle Rosette because it reminded me of that bottom of her dress, that ruching at the bottom, and the big puffy look at the bottom of her dress. And it also looks like drapes. If you look at it, from afar, it looks like you're hanging the hanging drapes that are in those mansions, the big drapes that droop down. But I love this effect. So I'm going to show you how you can do this and incorporate styrofoam into your now business. People who own bakeries, I know Anisha's in here. She's getting ready to open up her bakery. Congratulations to her. If you own a bakery, this is a styrofoam is going to be your best friend, because you need to constantly create different looks to attract different types of customers. So you can get styrofoam pretty much in every facet. Any type, any size, any shape. You can go all the way up to 20 tiers. You can do so many different things with styrofoam, and it shows your versatility to your clients. So if you're creating all of these different designs and placing them in your shop, people are able to see then what you can do, the different things you can do. Now, if you're at home doing this and you want to create these looks just to show people that you can do them, I highly suggest getting you a couple of orders of styrofoam and started practicing on these cakes. You should always have certain cakes in your repertoire. You need to have a kid's cake. You should have an adult's cake, a sports themed cake, a wedding cake, a baby shower cake. Something fun, something whimsical. These are the more modern styles, the marbling, the fondant, the buttercream. All of these different style cakes that are out there that you can kind of hip your clients to by just doing them on styrofoam. And it also makes you look busy. Nobody knows that these aren't real cakes. So, they don't really know. So it's the perfect opportunity for you to look like you're really busy. But the most important thing is it gives you a chance to perfect what you're doing. And that's what's most important, because you need to practice before you start taking these orders that you've never done before. And that's the main problem I see in the community now, is people are taking on orders of things that they've never done, and they're just winging it. They're winging it and going off a hope and a prayer that, hey, I'm going to do my best and it's going to look good. Well, that's not always the case, because as we know now, social media has become a tool of ignorance. So people are now taking these things that you have done and then making them to be something much, much worse. So you definitely have to, keep that in mind. So you need to practice, 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 okay? So, as I stated, we're going to get started tonight with the 1mm tip, and I already have this on my bag. We're working with sizes 6, 8, and 10. I'm going to again show you how the other, once I bring out the 8-inch again, how you can incorporate different layers of cake, of real cake, into your cake. Some people just want a cake just for cutting purposes, so that when they see, when the pictures come out, they can actually see they were actually cutting the cake. So some styrofoam companies will actually make your styrofoam where they'll cut a wedge out of the styrofoam, and you'll be able to actually insert a slice of real cake into the styrofoam. Now your measurements have to be exact of what you're doing, and they need to know that it needs to be exact measurements. But it looks really good, you know, once you get that done, and you just want to just have the whole cake fake, and they serve cake from the back. Okay, so we are going to get started. All right, everybody's okay? All right. So if there's no questions, we will go ahead and get started. All right. I was giving y'all a minute to catch up on the question side. So with the bell rosette, what you do is typically almost the same as your rosette. So you're going to place your tip directly on your styrofoam. You're going to complete a rosette and take it all the way to the top. So all you're doing is whipping your you're making your rosettes, but you're just taking them all the way to the top. So you start again, you make a row. Okay. And again, we'll make a row. What I love about this method is it really takes less icing than what we normally do on rosette, on our normal rosette cakes. Yes, this is a huge time saver, Jen. I started doing this a couple of years ago. I don't know what prompted me. I seen something and I said, you know what? I need to figure this out into cake form, and it just became beautiful. You know, it just creates a really I call it timeless. It's a clean, timeless look. And it looks so much better than the traditional rosettes because all of them are the same size. You know, on rosettes you'll see some cakes where some of them will be a different size, and it's almost like doing a border, but you're just doing it on the side of a cake. See that? Gorgeous, gorgeous effect. And this red that I'm using came from Sam's Club, of course. I told y'all they need to pay me. This is a very elegant look. Very elegant. Seriously, I love this. It saves so much time. It's not one of those designs that I do a lot of anymore because I did it so much before. But I used to call these the 5-minute cakes. Because literally, if you just continue doing it, you will be done with it in about 5 minutes. And this is a 10-inch that we're working on right now. The red color from Sam's is very vivid. It's beautiful. And that's another thing that you can sell to your clients with these colors like this. If you're doing a styrofoam cake, they can get those bold colors. You know, the purples, the hot pinks, the reds, the lime greens, all those, you know, those hot colors. The black, yeah, I mean, this is a sexy cake in black. Just imagine this being in different colors. And just like that. Beautiful finish. Beautiful finish on that, okay? Everybody with me so far? Don't mind me. I just stepped in the icing. I drop it all the time. You can buy all the colors from Sam's Club. You know, they have all colors of the rainbow. No, you don't add anything to the styrofoam. Nothing. When you putting buttercream on here, you let it stay just the way it is. Nothing goes on. Yes, when you go to the bakery, you just ask them for the buttercream. Just go to your bakery and ask them for the. And sometimes some of the Sam's Clubs now actually put it out on the floor where you just buy it straight from the floor. I know ours has gotten like that now. All right, so for the next thing is what we're gonna need. This is the colored tubes. It looks like that. All right, and their colors, they vary from state to state, but ours is like maybe $20, 15 to 20, somewhere like that. It's less than $20, I know. All right. Yeah, definitely don't go on Fridays. You have to go through the week. All right. So next thing we're gonna do is I'm going to show you guys how to apply fondant to your styrofoam. Okay. So I coat my cake in Crisco. I always add it to my counter when I'm rolling out my fondant. So it's just so it doesn't stick to my counter. All right. And I also add it to my styrofoam. So what I do is I coat my whole thing in the shortening. This is so my fondant can stick to the styrofoam, okay? Make sure you get your edges around here. I don't really work with fondant a lot like I used to. I've always loved Wilton fondant because now they've changed the taste on it. It tastes better so it's not as nasty anymore. But I love satin ice. But satin ice is very temperate according to where you live at because it can be really, really hard to work with in most humid areas, okay? But I love satin ice. I've always loved satin ice. It is my absolute favorite. And you can order that online. All right. So, I have some fondant here. And this is Wilton fondant, which is perfect for when you're doing stuff like this. When you're just doing Crisco allows the fondant to stick to your styrofoam. I've never used water. I mean, you're welcome to use any medium, but I only use Crisco because it allows it to stick and I can move it around. So I always just knead my fondant really, really well. And what I'm doing is I'm just pulling it out some. Make it almost like a, disc. All right. Now get my rolling pin. I always start in the middle of my fondant. So you never want to press down deep into the fondant in the middle, because you pretty much start making an indentation in the fondant. That's what you don't want a dent in there like that. So what you do is I always start and I just roll outward. And while it's easy to pick up, you can move it around in the beginning. What I do is I'm just rolling in a circle. Now I'm rolling outward. Now people always say, how do you know when it's too thin? I say when you can see your counter, you don't roll it too thin. You don't want it, you want it thin where, because some people may not like fondant, but you don't want it to be so thin that you can't pick it up or you can't work with it either now. So you're going to have to use some judgment on it. So when I'm getting ready to roll it up, I use the same method as we use when we rolling biscuits and stuff like that. Then I'm looking for my can now. Okay. All right, so I just dust my rolling pin when I'm doing this. And I always just add a little bit of, this is just cornstarch. I always add a little bit to my rolling pin and to the top of my fondant so that I can roll this over and it doesn't stick to each other, okay? All right. So for the fondant, I just take this and I just lay it on top of the styrofoam. Okay. This is why I like using Crisco, because you can move it around. Now this is where I like to use cornstarch at, because I found it to be easier for me. Everybody teaches this different, but I like the cornstarch at this part because it doesn't. It allows me to smooth it over. So what I'm doing is I always work in front of me. So because you're trying to get everything working back towards you. So I just smooth this down lightly with my hands. Notice I don't have any tools or anything yet. I'm just using my hands for right now. And this is usually the part that everybody gets frustrated with and everything. You have to defeat your fear of fondant, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. Your fear of fondant and buttercream cakes. Some people are good at fondant, some people are good at buttercream. You're going to have a favorite. I'm going to show you what happens to most people when they're doing these cakes like this with fondant. So as you can see right here, let me smooth this out. We have already started to rip. So what I did was I rolled this thinner so I can show you guys this mess up. Because this is normally what happens. So we do this. We smooth out all our cake, and then we get to the point where now is we time to cut it, and we're like, oh my God, my fondant has ripped. What do we do right here? Now on styrofoam, you can kind of move it and piece it back together into the indentions there. And then you just take your smoother and smooth it out. On real cake, if you have a hole in it, you can just take a piece of fondant and put it on there. Just stick it on there like that. If you got a hole, and you just smooth it out. And that covers it up. And you just take off all of your excess. So it's really not hard. A lot of times we just overthink it. And we try to be so perfect with it. And we end up making a mess. So take this now. And you can tell I rolled it thin. Because you can still see my writing on my front, on my styrofoam that I had on there. Okay. Now, right here, we'll have the same problem. So, you're able to push this together. And it's on styrofoam, y'all. Because you can always take this off and start again. Roll it out and start again. That's the good thing about styrofoam. If you keep on working at this and perfecting it on your styrofoam, it'll be easy when it comes time for a cake. You can roll it out, lay it on your cake, and be done. Okay? All right. So, I'm going to use a mat that you can get off of Instagram. I mean, not Instagram. You can get it off of Amazon. Or it's pretty much anywhere, really. Let me go grab it. Make sure I ain't going crazy, y'all. Because I decided to add this part right here on here. And didn't even look for the mat to see if it was anywhere near me before I got started with y'all. But I want to show it to you. Okay, here we go. I walked around for nothing. All right. Right, Piper. So this is called a quilt mat. People use these things so different, and you can use how you want to. Some people use them. They have the little tin ones that you can use to make the quilt design. But I like using this mat. I got this off of Amazon. It's just called a quilt fondant mat. So what you do is you press it up to your cake. Just press it into the cake, and you got to be careful with it because you can mess up the line pattern, which I always do, Chad. I always do it, and I had to go back and fix it. So I start doing just a little bit at a time. You just really just want the impression of the line on here, because you're gonna go back and go over the indentation of it, okay? You just pressing it into here. Now you're gonna see in a minute. I'm gonna mess it up, cause I always do this. I really do it on the smart. Oh, I might not did it this time. Oh yeah, I didn't do it this time. I ain't got smart now. I usually mess it up cause I be trying to do the whole thing all the way around, and I end up messing it up. All right, so you have the impression. So this is where I usually get up in here and I usually mess it up. So on this, all you need to do now is want this tool is called a quilting wheel. And this is a fondant tool here. And what I do, I take my quilting wheel and I just go through the creases of where I've put the mat it. And outline that area. Okay. And when you get to certain spots, you will see, like I always do, like I was saying, where I mess up it, where the lines don't meet up. I always have to take a step back and I'll make my lines because I've either overlapped the mat into the next design. And well, this is normal. It happens to me all the time. So don't feel like that you messed up, because I do it too. But I like the mats. On larger cakes, you can never see it. It always meets up. Like on a 10-inch cake, it meets up exactly. 6-inch cake, it meet up exactly. It's always the damn 8-inch cake. Okay. And I'm trying to do where y'all can see. And I'm working from the side. So my line's a little crooked, and I'm sorry. I want y'all to see. So right here is where I had to make a line, basically. All right, so you see the impression. All right, we got it. Yes, we're about to do that right now, actually. Yes, you can reuse the buttercream on the phone cake. I do it all the time. All right, so Piper asked the question about the plush effect. And I'm going to show you that I was already going to show that. So Piper, you are ahead of the class. All right. All right, so you're going to add your cake to your other cake. This is your styrofoam, okay? So to get this look that Piper was talking about, which is the plush look, you'll need to have some fondant tools. So these tools, this tool kit may look familiar for some people because it's a Duff tool kit. Somebody works at Duff. But one of the tools in there is this little pick type thing. And this is what I use to create the plush pillow effect. So what you'll do is you just lightly press it on each side. Just like that. And you're just pressing it into it, just making a little indentation. Like that. Okay. Once you actually get it, you'll see how much quicker you can do this. Because it doesn't take, this part right here does not take a long time. I know you guys have seen it before and it looked like it was so hard, but now you see it's really easy. Isn't it? Easy, isn't it? Now it looks like little pillows. Fun it look like. And they're gonna think that you took so much time. You know, nobody even knew. They think it took so much time. They was like, oh my God, how did you do that? It looks so beautiful. And we're gonna do it in less than 10, 15 minutes. Okay? It's so simple. Super, super easy. And this is all you're doing. Sometimes the easiest things we make so hard. We didn't even know what it was. But now we know. She know who it is. Piper works for Duff. Oh, look at there. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? So what I do now with this effect, I usually take this pump brush. I get this from Cal Java. You can put your little not disco dust, but the pearl sheen in it, and brush this on here and give it a nice shimmer effect. And it really, really looks like you airbrushed it in pearl. You can't see it, but I can see it. Unless you're here. You're not here, so you can't see it. But I can see the effect, okay? It makes a huge difference. Look at it. Now we need another color because the pearls have to go in the center of this. You just don't leave it like it is now. You don't leave the way you came. So we're going to use I'm going to use these white ones, okay? Because I want to use white for this. And I'm going to use some piping gel that's somewhere in the neighborhood. You're going to need piping gel, okay? I gotta find my piping gel. Oh, I know where it's All right, so I have my piping gel. This pearl sheen is what they sell on this stuff. They sell this stuff on Cal Java. I don't listen. I don't stop getting into this whole non-toxic, toxic. Hell, these kids eat everything. Shit, just give it to them. I don't know. They sell it on there and they put it on the cake. I don't know. They've been selling it for years. It's called pearl dust. They be using it on the flowers that you put when you color your flowers. I think it's everything stay non-toxic these days. It just stay non-toxic. So we'll make it. Well, thank you, Miriam. So we take these little sugar pearls, or what they call. Somebody already said the technical name for them. I just call them little sugar pearls. And press them into this. This is why you use piping gel, and it holds them in place so they don't fall out. All right. All right. So this right here, We got another side. Well, we got this side. We ain't going around to the right hand side, so I'm gonna keep the right hand side covered up. We going right there. All right. So, do we see that beautiful effect right there? Isn't it beautiful? Did everybody see that? Ain't it lovely? Isn't it lovely? I gotta do a couple more right here so I can do a complete turn. It makes it. Hey, we can hear you. All right. All righty. Ain't it beautiful? It is beautiful. Ain't it lovely? So now, this is where you can put on your bling on here. I don't suggest this, okay? I'll tell you why in a minute. Because you're gonna end up covering up your, if you're doing this, well, if you do it, you need to cover it, take it to a line where you can actually see the bling. This is why I was saying I don't I don't. Some people do this. I can't answer that question because I've never done it. I don't do it on there. Okay. I have I've done the quilt on buttercream before, but I've never done the pleat on there. No, you can't put a request in for a square cake class because I don't like square cakes, and I don't do them. So for this right here, you just need to put you some piping gel directly on your fondant. Piping gel is life, okay? It's your glue to life. So we're gonna put this here. And this is why I was saying, I'm gonna show you in a minute why I was saying you had to be careful to put this all the way up because sometimes it will cover it up. All right. Once you add the other layer of buttercream, it'll cover it up. So look at there. All right. So now we have to finish off the side. All right. Finish off where we put the cake on it. All right. So I'm gonna move this up so you guys can see the top of this. Okay. So right here, all you're doing is creating a half rosette to finish off the design. So it's just a small border. And I told y'all I ain't had nothing in the back anyway. Okay. You see that? So far? We good so far? All right. So, now, we're going to add on our top. Now for this design, it's super easy. The cake design is easy. You see you can use this styrofoam over and over again. I use this for my guide for my eyes for the unicorn cake. All right. All right, so we're gonna take this and do the same thing again. Take it up. Take it up the cake. All right. Same effect. The good thing about these, this design, is you don't have to worry about it sliding down like the traditional rosettes that slide down the cake because they're too heavy. You don't have to worry about that. Again, take it up. So at the top, you just pretty much finish off the same rosettes that you know that you're doing on your if you were doing traditional rosettes. It just finishes off same way, same way. It's easy, super easy. You don't have to worry about it. Nobody's looking to make sure that it's absolute, but it's almost the same thing as if you were doing your cupcakes. This is why I say you should have a 1mm tip in your kit, because it makes a huge difference in so many designs on your cakes. So right there, now I'm gonna go around and finish this off the back because I can see the back on my on camera. Now, if you're doing this at, how much would you charge for this? I would probably charge, because this is only one thing of fondant, probably maybe $325 to $350. It ain't nothing but buttercream. And then the cake really ain't gonna take you but a few minutes, tops. If you got everything already done. The good thing about this rosette method, you don't have to ice the cake. You can just go straight into doing this design. You don't have to ice it. So you don't have to worry about doing the upside down method and all that. You can go straight in to start decorating. And you can add all kind of cute little trinkets, stuff to it. So much stuff you can do with, you know, your fondant tiers, of course, when I find the middle. So I was telling somebody this past weekend, you can find the best cake jewels at like your different stores. 6, 8, and the 10. 6, 8, and the 10 is the size numbers. But these cake jewels come from different stores. Like, you know, like your earrings and all that. I went to Forever 21 this past weekend and they had them on clearance. So I got all different types of them. Like earrings and stuff like this. You can use this as like accent pieces on your cakes. You know what I'm saying? So you got different stuff that you can put on there to actually make it up. So now, even if it was real cake, I would charge $350. I mean, it's still not gonna take you that long to do this. Now, if you determine your prices, I mean, you know, I always say that I don't really get into prices because everybody is in a different area. So, you know, you don't want to get into too much about price and how much everybody charges because everybody's in different areas. And everybody's skill level is always going to be different. Some people are going to charge more because they think they are the cake boss of cakes. So they're going to charge more because of it. But your pricing depends on you. I never try to. I try not to go too much in detail with pricing. Okay. So as you can see, this is a very, very elegant design. It's very beautiful. I will say that it's easy, simple to do. Now, with your real cake, what you could do is incorporate one of the layers. So what you normally do, you'll take one of the layers and add it into here. So if you want them to have a layer they can cut the top part. You know, this will all be real cake. Everything else will be styrofoam. Or the bottom layer will be real, and they would make their first official cut at the bottom like that. Okay? Simple enough, huh? Pretty simple. Pretty easy. Now, make sure you go on and dress it up a little bit. You know, you put your bling around your board and to finish it off and do all of that. Make it really, really nice and neat. You know, to have all that, you know, that jazz. Okay. So, recap. Your buttercream, you can get your buttercream from Sam's Club. Really, really simple. Not hard to do. You walk in Sam's, tell them you want whatever color icing they have that you want, the color you want it in. They have a color chart there that you can look at the chart and, you know, see what colors they are and what's available. The white icing is maybe $40 at most. If you had real cake in here, you could still put it together. It's no different. You can still put your real cake layer in here and still put the whole thing together. When you do dowel placement, is this your? Let me ask this question: do you not know how to dowel your cakes? So I can know how to properly answer the question. I need an answer for the people who like to comment too, so I can know how to answer the question. Okay, so your dowel placement is still the same on there. So what we'll do is when you're doing your regular dowel placement, what you'll do is you'll start with dowel placement is always done in clock formation. Okay, so Wilton boards already have that middle. Okay. They always have that middle part right there, and that's for you if you have a center dowel. But just say that we didn't have a middle on here. I did another that. So there's no middle, okay? What you'll do is you'll have your center dowel right there. You start there. All right, so this is your clock. You'll have a dowel at 12 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And that will be your dowel placement. And so if this was your dowel, you'll have a dowel there that goes down. You'll have one there, 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 and there. Okay? That's your dowel placement. Now, the larger the tier, the more dowels you'll need. So if your tier is larger than this, you'll have all of this like this, okay? You'll still have this. Always remember your clock. You'll still have your clock. Now you'll go in between the clock. So you'll have one here, 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 and here. Okay? That's creating additional support in there. So you have all of your dowel placement here, and then you got that middle support right there that's going to lock in if you want the rest of that cake there, okay? That's going to hold everything in place. So once everything is all the way finished, you can then take you a larger dowel, which will be your middle dowel, and you can take it and go all the way down through the center of your cake, and that holds everything together. The good thing about styrofoam cakes is when you incorporate real cake in the styrofoam, you can actually take the whole cake put together. If it's a 3-tier cake like this, it can be already put together. You don't have to worry about it because the styrofoam actually acts as a barrier where it supports the weight of it, so it's not moving around. Once you dowel it in place and dowel that cake in place, you're done. You don't have to worry about it moving around. It's so much easier to transport styrofoam cakes than it is real cake. Well, styrofoam with real layers than it is like a whole real cake. Now, for people who want, take for example, excuse me, take for example like Lakita's here. Lakita's does like cupcakes and all of the treats tables. If Lakita got into doing like these display cakes, she could just sell these display cakes as part of her packages, and they're already decorated. They say, hey, what's the color scheme? And this will be the centerpiece for her candy table or something, or a sweets table, and they have cupcakes. See, what you could do is sell the cupcake packages and also sell the cake as a display, as a centerpiece. So you learn the techniques on how to decorate the styrofoam cakes, and you can use those as a centerpiece, and that's additional income that you can bring in. Yeah, that's it. You can dial that into that. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Because I'm going to be back on here again, too. I'll let you guys know the time on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Tomorrow I will drop back in and I will show you guys again icing, because I'm going to ice all of the tiers that I have for the weekend. I'm going to go ahead and do my upside down method on all the tiers, and so you can see. Yes, I am smart when it comes to making money. I can always find a way to make some money. And I can always teach people how to make some. Alright, so if we don't have any questions for tonight, if you do, you can still post them. I'll see them. We will come back again and we will completely assemble my actual wedding cake order for this weekend, and I'll show you guys how we do that. So on Thursday, I have a cake for Friday, and I have a couple of cakes for Saturday, but the big cake is on Saturday. So what we're going to do leading up to the rest of the week is I'm going to show you guys how to properly ice your cakes, how to dial each tier individually so that when you put it together on site, everything is already done. Okay? So this is going to be like a week-long project that we're going to get into. It just happens to fall directly on the week where I already have a pretty big cake that has part styrofoam and part real cake. So this is just the perfect time to have the class, because I had no idea that it was on the same week, and she actually moved the date. So this is perfect for you guys. So we'll go back in and come back again on tomorrow, because I'll do the icing of the cakes tomorrow. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And if you still have questions, just keep posting the questions on here. I'll see them and I'll be able to come back, or somebody start a question post and we'll post all the questions there. All right. I will let you guys know the time when I get home from work, because it's usually around probably the same time when I get off work. I usually come straight home and start working. But if you missed the live, the video will still be up. I'll keep the video in here as well, so you'll see how to do the upside down icing methods, okay? All right. Y'all have a good night. Love y'all.